Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or as it was known in the United States, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, is a 2001 fantasy film directed by Chris Columbus, distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures, and based on J.K. Rowling's 1997 novel of the same name. It is the first installment in the Harry Potter film series. The film stars Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter, with Rupert Grint as Ron Weasley, and Emma Watson as Hermione Granger. In the story, it follows Harry's first year at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry as he discovers that he is a famous wizard and begins his formal wizarding education. Warner Bros. Bought the film rights to the book in 1999 for a reported £1 million. Production began in the United Kingdom in 2000, with Chris Columbus being chosen to create the film from a short list of directors that even included Steven Spielberg and Rob Reiner. Spielberg reportedly wanted the adaptation to be an animated film with the American actor Haley Joel Osment to provide Harry Potter's voice, or a film that incorporated elements from the subsequent books as well. Spielberg contended that, in his opinion, it was like shooting ducks in a barrel. It's just a slam dunk. It's like withdrawing $1 billion and putting it into personal bank accounts. There's no challenge. Rowling maintains that she had no role in choosing directors for the film, and that anyone who thinks I could or would have vetoed for him Spielberg needs their quick quotes quill serviced. Spielberg would go on to direct AI, artificial intelligence, instead. J.K. Rowling insisted that the entire cast be British and Irish, with the 3 leads chosen in August 2000, following open casting calls. The film was shot at Leviston Film Studios and historic buildings around the United Kingdom from September 2000 to March 2001. The film was released to cinemas in the United Kingdom and Ireland on the 10th and 11th of November 2001 for 2 days of previews. The film opened officially on the 16th of November. It became a critical and commercial success, grossing $974 million at the box office worldwide during its initial run, and over $1 billion with subsequent re-releases. It became the highest-grossing film of 2001 and the second highest-grossing film at the time. The film was nominated for many awards, including Academy Awards for Best Original Score, Best Art Direction, and Best Costume Design. It was followed by 7 sequels, beginning with Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in 2002 and ending with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 in 2011. Now let's cover the characters. Firstly, we have, of course, none other than Harry Potter himself, played here by Daniel Radcliffe. An 11-year-old orphan living with an unwelcoming aunt, uncle and cousin who learns of his own fame as a wizard, known to have survived his parents' murder at the hands of the Dark Wizard Lord Voldemort as an infant when he accepted to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Columbus had wanted Radcliffe for the role since he saw him in the BBC's production of David Copperfield, before the open casting sessions had taken place, but he had been told by casting director Susan Figgis that Radcliffe's protective parents would not allow their son to take part. Columbus explained that his persistence in giving Radcliffe the role was responsible for Figgis's eventual resignation. Radcliffe was asked to audition in 2000 when film producers Heyman and Kloves met him and his parents at a production of Stones in His Pockets in London. Heyman and Columbus successfully managed to convince Radcliffe's parents that their son would be protected from media intrusion, and they agreed to let him play Harry. Rowling approved of Radcliffe's casting, stating, "Having seen the screen test, I don't think Chris Columbus could have found a better Harry." Radcliffe was reportedly paid £1 million for the film, although he felt the fee was not that important to him. William Moseley, who was later cast as Peter Pennevis in the Chronicles of Narnia series, also auditioned for the role. Then, of course, we have Ron Weasley, played here by Rupert Grint, Harry's best friend at Hogwarts and a younger member of the Weasley wizarding family. A fan of the series, Grint decided he would be perfect for the part because he had ginger hair. Having seen news rounds report that the open casting, he sent a video of himself rapping about how he wished to receive the part. His attempt was successful, as the casting team asked for a meeting with him. Thomas Brodie Sangster also auditioned for the role, but was rejected. He, of course, would go on to act in Love Actually. Then we have Hermione Granger, played here by Emma Watson, Harry's other best friend and the trio's brains. Watson's Oxford theatre teacher passed her name on to the casting agents, and she had to do over 5 interviews before she got the part. Watson took her audition seriously, but never really thought she had any chance of getting the role. Producers were impressed by Watson's self-confidence, and she outperformed thousands of other girls who had applied. Then we have Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy, a student of Slytherin and Harry's rival. Before being cast as Draco, Felton auditioned for the roles of Harry and Ron. Other cast members included John Cleese as Nearly Headless Nick, the ghost of Gryffindor House, Warwick Davies as Professor Flitwick, the charms master and head of Ravenclaw House, Richard Griffiths as Fernan Dursley, Harry's muggle uncle, John Hurt as Mr. Ollivander, a highly regarded wand-maker and owner of Ollivanders, Fiona Shaw as Petunia Dursley, Harry's muggle aunt, and Julie Walters as Molly Weasley, Ron's mother, who shows Harry how to get to platform 9 3/4. Some of the other major characters, though, that were cast was Rupert Hagrid, played here by Robbie Coltrane, a half-giant and Hogwarts gamekeeper. Coltrane was one of 2 actors Rowling wanted most, along with Smith as McGonagall. Coltrane, who also was a really fan of the books, prepared for the role by discussing Hagrid's past and future with Rowling herself. According to figures, Robin Williams was interested in participating in the film, but was turned down for the Hagrid role because of the strictly British and Irish rule. Albus Dumbledore in this film was played by Richard Harris, Hogwarts headmaster and one of the most famous and powerful wizards of all time. Harris initially rejected the role, only to reverse his decision after his granddaughter stated she would never speak to him again if he did not take it. And then we of course have Maggie Smith as Professor McGonagall, the deputy headmistress and head of Gryffindor and Transfiguration teacher at Hogwarts. Rowling was adamant that Smith would be perfect for this role. Then of course we have the main antagonist for this film, Quirinus Quirrell, played here by Ian Hart, the stuttering defense against the Archdark teacher at Hogwarts. David Thewlis auditioned for the part initially, but he would later be cast as Remus Lupin in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Hart also voiced Lord Voldemort, while Richard Bremer provided the physical appearance and portrayed him as the hooded figure during the flashback, albeit this time with the nose, which of course would later be removed in the later films, when the role was taken over by the most brilliant Ralph Fiennes. And let me not forget one of the most complex and fascinating characters within the whole Harry Potter universe, Severus Snape, played here by Alan Rickman, the potions master and the head of Slytherin House. Tim Roth was originally the first choice for the role, but turned it down in order to play in the Planet of the Apes. Now let's discuss some differences from the original source material. Columbus repeatedly checked with Rowling to make sure he was getting the minor details correct. Producer Kloves described the film as being really faithful to the book. He added dialogue of which Rowling approved. One of the lines originally included had been removed after Rowling told him that he would directly contradict an event in the unreleased 5th Harry Potter novel, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Several minor characters have been removed from the film version, most prominently Peeves, the poltergeist, although actor Rick Mayall had been cast in the role, but his scenes were ultimately cut from the final film and never released. The book's first chapter, told from the viewpoint of Vernon and Petunia Dursley, is absent from the film. And Harry and Draco's first encounter at Madame Malkin's robe shop and the midnight duel are not in this film. Norbert is mentioned to have been taken away by the Dumbledore in the film, whilst in the book Harry and Hermione are taken in by hand to Charlie Weasley's friends. According to the producer Kloves, it was one of the parts of the book that Rowling felt easily could be changed. As a result, the reason of the detention in the Forbidden Forest was changed, and in the novel, Harry and Hermione are put into detention for being caught by Flitch when leaving the astronomy tower after hours. Neville and Malfoy are given detention when caught in the corridor by Professor McGonagall, whilst in the film, Harry and Hermione and Ron receive detention after Malfoy catches them in Hagrid's hut after hours. Malfoy then receives detention as well for being out of bed. The Quidditch pitch is altered from a traditional stadium to an open field circled by spectator towers. The book's timeline is not enforced in the film. In the book, Harry's 11th birthday is in 1991, whereas in the film, the set on 4 Privet Drive, Dudley's certificates from primary school year bear the year 2001. Now, the Philosopher's Stone is a real family delight and gets the ball rolling on this epic series. The children are sometimes wooden in parts, and they are basically still learning to act as we watch them on screen. But their charm shines through in the roles that eventually they would make their own. The adult cast are superb, as a lot of them, of course, are seasoned actors. For me particularly, Alan Rickman stands out as Severus Snape. And I always preferred Richard Harris's take on Dumbledore. Now, for many people, this was the first proper introduction to the world of Harry Potter. And for me in particular, one of my favourite parts of the film is watching Quidditch for the first time on the big screen. It was a real delight. The CGI now is somewhat dated, but back then it was literally spellbinding as we escaped into this fantastical world of Hogwarts and all of its visual delights. The Harry Potter storyline is deep and multi-layered, and this film is really just an introduction to this fantastic story. It really lays the groundwork as you now become invested in Harry, Ron and Hermione, and begin to understand the complexities of the wizarding world. I felt overall it adapted the source material relatively faithfully and condensed the novel's very long premise into a 2.5-hour film, something not always easy to manage. I loved the sets, the costumes and the makeup and effects, and I felt they really matched what J.K. Rowling had imagined on the page. The one thing that really stands out for me, of course, is this wonderful score by John Williams, and it adds perfectly and has become so synonymous with the Potter universe. Parts of this film have become a bit dated, and it is definitely a much more family-friendly film than some of the later films in the series. I find the young actors are still trying to find their way, so the acting can be a bit wooden at times, but all in all you can look past it as you get taken on this journey. All in all, this is a great introduction to the Harry Potter series, and it's still a nice easy film if you just feel like a bit of escapism for the afternoon. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone gets a 7 out of 10.